Donald Trump just held a disastrous press conference outside of the White House where he announced that he would be putting a 10% baseline tariff on every country, 25% tariffs on all foreign automobiles. And then he went country by country describing how he was going to tariff each country. The markets are crashing right now. This may be the most disastrous press event in the history of the United States. The market's currently tanking. You see right here, the after hours S&P just absolutely straight line down right now. Let me show you what went down in this press conference here. Donald Trump announces a minimum baseline tariff of 10% on all nations. Play this clip.
At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate.
Then Donald Trump brings out a chart to describe his tariffs. Here, play this clip.
Big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%. So we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%. So we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually, they're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest.
Trump then talks about a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Happen. And they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Trump then muses about the word groceries, and he says, groceries, what an old-fashioned word that is. What an interesting word groceries is. Play this clip.
Right. But likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it on the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it.
Well, hey, Donald, you promised that you were going to lower the price of groceries on day one. You promised all prices would drop on day one. Now inflation is surging, and our markets are crashing, and inflation is going to get way worse after what you just did here. More promises broken, but even worse than promises broken, you have broken an incredible economy that was handed to you, where now we see the Atlanta Federal Reserve and others predicting a negative 3.8% GDP in quarter one, a contraction of 3.8% here. Donald Trump wonders why it was that he goes, in 1913, for reasons unknown, we moved away from tariffs. Here, play this clip.
Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression. And it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time.
As Congressmember Seth Magaziner explains, income tax is paid mostly by the rich. Tariffs are paid mostly by the middle class. That is why we moved to the income tax in 1913, and also why Trump is shifting back to tariffs. Here, Donald Trump says that we're all going to get so rich all so quickly. You just watch. Even though every economist thinks that he's wrong, he's got all of the secrets. He's got all the solutions. Everyone get ready to get rich. It's Liberation Day, baby. Here's what he's talking about. Here, play this clip.
Declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sidelines as other nations got rich and powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in so doing, use trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our...
Now, there's a reason why Donald Trump has bankrupted essentially every business that he's touched over the years, because he is the worst business person ever. And then he doubles, triples, quadruples down and makes things worse. These tariffs that he's doing across the world may be the single stupidest thing in the history of the United States of American trade policy or economic policy as well. But here Donald Trump says, you know what? The good old days, he goes, the good old days, 1789. That's when America was the richest. Here, play this clip.
From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem?
We are not living in the 18th century, and America was not the most prosperous in 1789. And by the way, the sycophants who Donald Trump surrounds himself to, the people who are nodding, they are going, yeah. While they're tanking our economy, they're just as complicit, if not worse, in this kakistocracy, idiocracy, and implosion of the United States of America. These idiots are destroying our country, destroying our economy. Oh, so what does Donald Trump do next? Attacks Canada. Here, Donald Trump says that it's all Canada's fault. Canada screws us. Canada's the worst. Here, play this clip.
And with countries like Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I mean, at what point do we say, you got to work for yourselves, and this is why we have the big deficits. This is why we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years. And
there's a reason, Donald, why Canada has gone elbows up, and they're boycotting all American products. They're boycotting American tourism because of this. They don't just view what you're doing as a trade war, Donald. They view it as you've declared war on Canada. And frankly, now you've declared war on the rest of the world. We're seeing South Korea, China, and Japan form alliances together to stand up to the United States and these tariffs. No one ever expected that. European Union strengthening itself, Canada strengthening its relationships, and America being isolated. Here's Donald Trump again attacking Canada. Let's play this clip.
Never seen anything like that. With today's actions, we're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world. Brutalized. Canada, by the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do the first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets...
And here Donald Trump announces that he's signing the executive order. Play this clip.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get any simpler than that.
By the way, Donald Trump then forgets to sign the order. He walks off, and then he has to be told to go back to sign the order. Here, play this clip.
president's signature today. One closes what's referred to as the de minimis loophole.
Donald Trump then talks about plastic Easter eggs. This is what he's thinking about right now, this demented, disgusting individual. Play this clip.
Eggs drop now 59%, and they're going down more, and the availability is fantastic. They were saying that for Easter, please don't use eggs. Could you use plastic eggs? I said, we don't want to do that. We want to, and you really came through. It's an amazing job. Thank you very much, Brooke. You did great.
And then Donald Trump says, I just want you all to remember this is going to be the greatest day. You will all look back on this moment as the moment you have all been liberated. Here, play this clip.
This will be a very big moment. I think you're going to remember today. It's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day that hopefully you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country.
Folks, it's not hyperbolic to call this psychotic. I'm sick and tired of people saying, oh, you're calling it psychotic and your headline saying this is demented and disgusting and dangerous. It is. That's what it is. I don't need to try to use fancy big words to overcomplicate the stupidity that is taking place right here, the dangerousness. And either Donald Trump is the biggest freaking idiot ever, or he's intentionally trying to destroy the United States of America and destroy your lives because he wants you to suffer. And I think it's both. What a despicable moment in American history that was. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers together. Thank you for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.meidastouch.com. All 100% USA union made.